Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be showing you a new glitch called Send Launching. And rather than telling you about it, I'd rather just show you what it does. Credit for discovering this glitch goes to NX721. I'll leave a link to their video down in the description if you want to go check them out. Real quick, as always, this glitch will work on every version of the game from 1.0.0 up to 1.1.2. Now, moving on to the required items, you're going to need one shield that you can fuse to. You're going to need one fan, one shock emitter, and then at least one big battery. Now, the big battery itself is optional. There are other items you can use in its place, but I will go into that in more detail when we get to that step. And then, optionally, you can have some hover stones, but like the big battery, I'll get to these when they actually come up. So once we have all of our items, we're going to start off by taking our fan and our shock emitter, and we're going to drop these on the ground. And then we're going to fuse our fan to our shield, and we're going to set up our shock emitter. Because before we can do a send launching, we need to do another glitch called Guardless Active Shield, or GAS for short. And to do this, all we need to do is press ZL at the same time that we walk into the shock emitter and get electrocuted. And if you do it right, the shield will fly out of Link's hand. And then when you pick it up, the fan that's attached to it will be on, even though the shield is on your back. Now, the timing for this can be a little tricky, so it might take you a couple of tries. There we go. So when you get it, it'll look like this. You'll pick the shield up, and you'll have the fan blowing behind you when it's on your back. Now, once it's in this position, be very careful that you do not press ZL to hold out your shield. That will cancel this and turn the fan off. And you also need to make sure that you do not switch off of this shield or drop it, because that too will turn this off. You can pull out your sword to turn that back off. That won't be a problem. Just make sure, again, you're not hitting ZL. Now, I forgot to mention in the beginning, but I would also recommend having a few large zonai charges, because this fan can kind of eat up your battery somewhat quickly, and depending on how long you want to do this and how much battery charge you have, a few of these will be handy for refilling your gauge and letting you reset and keep going. And I didn't use one. So once we're in this state, then we're done with GAS, that's complete, and we can move on to the actual ascend launch. So this is where we're going to pull out our large battery, and like I said in the beginning, there are other items that you can use in place of this. For example, I know that small rocks and the portable cooking pot will work for this, though both of those are less efficient or less effective than the big battery. But essentially, any item that you can pick up and is also big enough for you to ascend through. So like if I press L and if you watch the bottom of this battery, you'll see that quick little moment where it flashes green to let me ascend through it. You can even see down on the right that the option pops up to press A to ascend. So any item that you can hold up above your head like this and ascend through will work for this, though how effective it is will vary depending on the item. So, having said that, once we have our big battery, as I explained, we're going to be tapping L, and then after a short delay, you don't want to mash it, because if you mash, it's either going to do that, or you're going to most likely do that, or it's just going to fall off your head. So you want to have a bit of a delay in your button press. So we'll press L and then A, And then this is where timing will come in, and I'll explain that in a moment. But as you can see, once we come out, we're going to get launched about 600, 700 feet up in the air. And then you can see that because that fan is active on our back, even though it seems to be blowing us down, if you look at the trails on our glider and our coordinates down on the map, we're actually going up from the fan. So this will passively gain you some height. But if you remember in the beginning, when I mentioned the hover stones, this is where these will come into play. Because if you take one of these out and then quickly grab your bow and then just kind of fall with it for a second, it'll freeze out in the air and you can land on it and reset. Just gonna grab one of these. You just move to a corner and pull another battery out. And now the timing that I was talking about, while I have a moment to show you, I wasn't anticipating getting the timing so quickly on the first one. When you start ascending through the battery, if you just mash A to climb out the other side immediately, it'll launch you more forward, horizontally, but the power won't be as strong. But if you wait like I did, then you'll get shot pretty much straight up, and the power will be significantly stronger. Just make sure that you're not waiting much longer than after Link finishes shaking his head side to side. And I'll show you if I can do this real quick. Just be careful if you're redoing it on a hoverstone, because if you mess it up, you will lose the big battery. So if you watch Link's head, you'll see him shake it. So try not to wait too much longer than that for your timing, otherwise it will just fling the item. Like the big battery itself will just get launched and you won't go anywhere. But then again, I can just grab another hoverstone. It is important that you fall with these for a couple of seconds, because if they get too far out of range, they'll deactivate and they'll just plummet to the ground. So you will need to kind of babysit them down for a minute until they start to stop. And we're just going to do it one more time. And this is just to show that off of just 3 of these, we're about 850 feet into the air, and we've gone from Lookout Landing all the way to the top of the Temple of Time on the Great Sky Island. Just to showcase exactly how much height you're getting off of this and how quickly you can fly up. But that's pretty much going to do it for this one. If you liked the video, do me a favor and leave it a like, and subscribe to the channel for more.